Well, thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday. I have my friend here, meteorologist Nathan Scott. I would say, Nathan, are you listening? I'm talking to you.
I'm looking at information here.
Perfect.
Jurnee.
Tell us about this day, because it's been busy. Fog. It's a little cooler than yesterday. We have a lot going on.
Yeah, we have a front that is slicing its way through the state right now, and the high, we saw that while you were sleeping. I'm looking at the records here of Little Rock, and we reached about 64 degrees right after midnight, and then temperatures have been dropping since then. So there you see, 53 is the current temperature in Little Rock. Meanwhile, it's 75 in Camden. You can clearly see where that front is located, right through south central Arkansas. Lots of clouds. All the fog is pretty much cleared out of the region, but these clouds will hang on throughout the rest of the day. A few breaks in northern parts of Pope County. The winds have switched over now to the north-northeast, bringing in that much cooler air, about 10 to 15 miles per hour. And look at this temperature difference, because this is very significant. Yesterday, we were into the 70s at this time. Look what's happening in North Arkansas. It's 30 degrees cooler in Harrison, 17 degrees cooler here in Little Rock. Meanwhile, it's just a little bit warmer down into South Arkansas. So highs today have pretty much been reached here into central Arkansas. They will hold steady. Temperatures will hold steady throughout the rest of the day. Meanwhile, there will still be a taste of spring down to South Arkansas. That taste of spring, it's coming back in full force. Get ready for a temperature roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen, because the next 7 days will be on the wild side in the temperature department. I'll have everything you need to know coming up.
All right, Nathan, thank you. Well, leading us off, the president's tariff plan on Chinese goods has taken effect. It's prompted China to take retaliation against America. Natalie Brand explains.
With the Trump administration's tariffs on China now in effect, China is punching back, saying it will impose tariffs of its own on U.S. imports. The White House says President Trump plans to speak to Chinese President Xi Jinping soon.
The president made it very clear with the 10% tariff on China that he is not going to allow China to continue to source and distribute deadly fentanyl into our country.
Starting next week, China says it will impose a 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas products coming from the U.S., as well as a 10% tariff on crude oil, agricultural machinery, and large engine cars.
This time they have a slightly different strategy of hitting oil markets.
Philip Luck served as the deputy chief economist at the State Department under the Biden administration.
It's going to reduce demand for U.S. goods, and it's going to have a negative effect on the economy.
The tit for tat with China comes as proposed tariffs on Mexico and Canada are on pause for at least a month while negotiations over border security continue. Canada has promised more choppers, drones, and personnel, as well as a new position for a fentanyl czar. Mexico's president has promised 10,000 National Guard troops to help block the flow of drugs and migrants. But in the border town of Laredo, Texas, business owners who rely on the flow of trade are still worried.
With an extension of just 30 days, that doesn't push anything. The only thing it does is pushes the line. It doesn't erase the uncertainty.
Many say they're stocking up on Mexican goods now in case tariffs happen down the road, causing prices to increase. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Imposing tariffs would have an effect on imported goods, driving prices to fluctuate. If they happen to be carried out, consumers would find themselves out of more money. Items like fruits, vegetables, and other essentials would all have higher costs. Canada supplies the U.S. with the largest amount of beef and poultry. Local supply chain specialists indicate enacting tariffs on Chinese goods would be noticeable across every American industry.
We import a lot of base ingredients from China that's used in a lot of various industries. So you're talking pharmaceutical, you're talking the toy industry, you're talking electronics. So almost every industry in the United States would be impacted.
The automobile industry is another that will also be impacted, mostly because of the parts used during assembly. We have continued coverage in the ongoing budget crisis in Jefferson County. State government has now intervened with a plan to restore government services. Governor Sanders is moving to pass bipartisan law to resolve a quorum court split down the middle. The legislation requires counties to utilize funds from previous years when a county goes without a new budget set for a new year. If passed, it would allow county employees to receive pay. The law has already received significant support.
It was a perfect place to add this piece of legislation that will make sure And whenever counties can't pass a budget for whatever reason, then the people don't suffer as a result of that.
They contribute to their community and they pay their taxes, and they deserve a government with as much common sense and decency as they have.
The law will go before the House Local Affairs Committee tomorrow. Tonight, the Jefferson County Quorum Court will meet again. We'll have that coverage during later newscasts. Well, a former library director is taking legal action against Saline County, claiming to have been unlawfully fired last year. We had previously reported that Patty Hector was removed as a Saline County library director. She and the ACLU now accuses the county of violating her First Amendment rights. The lawsuit claims Saline County's decision was in retaliation of comments Hector made refusing to remove obscene books from library shelves. Well, if something is too good to be true, that's because it probably is. Consumers should always be watching for the signs of potential scams, especially now because crooks are impersonating government entities trying to steal your information. Ashley Godwin has a THV 11 scam alert.
Not only do they use names of government officials to convince you it's real, but they might have information about you, like an address or a phone number, to make you believe you're in trouble and you need to pay them immediately.
They're very sophisticated. They call and they say, hey, this is Deputy Marshal so-and-so.
Scams are becoming more frequent every day, but this one is getting the best of people, mostly because this targets professionals who may have a reputation they want to uphold.
If I call up a doctor and I say, hey, you know, this is the U.S. Marshals and you have a warrant for your arrest because you missed jury duty. Well, doctors are busy people, so they may have missed a jury duty and they're like, oh, you know, I missed that. Oh, you know, let me take care of this. What I need to do, because they don't want their name ruined.
The scammers are using real government phone numbers and say they are with law enforcement or with the courts. Then they verify your personal information to reel you in, saying you're in trouble with the law and you need to pay money immediately or else a warrant will be issued.
They use a lot of words, a lot of legal terminology, and they're well versed.
U.S. Marshal Jeremy Hammonds says this is a red flag. U.S. Marshals will never contact you about issuing a warrant. They will never ask you to pay a fine over the phone, and they will never ask for payment with gift cards or Bitcoin.
In fact, the U.S. Marshals doesn't even collect fines.
If you get a call like this, you're asked to write down the information you were given first. Don't give any personal information or money to the caller, then hang up. You can then call an office number associated with the government agency to check if the information you were given matches their records.
And then say, hey, I just got this phone call, you know, is there a warrant issued for me or is there a subpoena?
Now, if you're caught scamming people like this, you can be charged with fraud and criminal impersonation, which are felonies that can include a fine and jail time. Back to you.
Well, we're days away from the biggest sporting event of the year. We have an early peek into the Super Bowl ahead at 12:17.
More spring-like temperatures are in the forecast, and we could shatter some records Thursday, also Saturday, but this is just a tease. It's fall spring, ladies and gentlemen, because things will turn much colder next week. I'll have that forecast coming up.